Have you ever wondered how to cut a rear end out of a Toyota Crown Majesta? You haven't? I don't care. I'm going to show you anyway. I've done it twice now, and this is going to be the third time I've cut a rear end out of one of these cars. If you're new here, I've started building a burnout car out of my Toyota Crown. I'm not entirely sure why, and I have no idea what I'm doing, so if you want to follow along, you might learn something. I'm definitely learning something. I wanted to change the pace a little bit. I've been working on the front end heaps. This is something I need to do at some point anyway, so I figured I may as well do it today. First things first, for a bit more context, I'm not cutting the whole rear end out. What I'm going to be doing is cutting out essentially the whole boot floor. I'm going to have to do a rear clip in this car at some point because of what it's going to be. So later down the track, I will be cutting out everything from essentially the back of the frame rails back. But for now, and so the car still moves and I can get it off this hoist if I need to, I'll just cut out the majority of the rear end, get all the wiring and stuff out of the way, get out the amp and all that sort of shit. And yes, it is, I'm sure it's going to be just as fun as it sounds. First things first, I know there's a lot of stuff in this boot. There's obviously the whole boot mold, garnish, all the wiring and stuff for the boot lid because I've pulled this off to make a mold out of it previously. There's some windows from another Majesta in here. Don't ask why. What I'll do is I'll get all this out. I'll get all the trims out of the boot. Then I'll get the rear bumper off while it's still down at a usable height, workable height. And then I'll get it up in the air and I'll start cutting. Not new here, you may have noticed that I'm wearing the same shirt. I don't know why I need to tell you that. I'll wear the same shit all weekend. But the other thing you might notice is, hopefully, fingers crossed, this video looks heaps better than the other ones because I set up the camera a little bit nicer, and since I've been editing the last few videos, they've looked fucking horrible. Like, they are terrible. So I changed a couple settings. Hopefully I can like grade this a little bit better and all that sort of thing. Like I said, I'm learning everything. I'm learning how to edit videos. I'm learning how to do this car. I'm learning how to use a camera. I'm learning how to talk better in front of the camera because, believe it or not, I actually fucking hate it. I hate the sound of my own voice. But anyway, let's get into it. I'll set this camera up on this little tripod and I'll start clearing out this. So I've got some sort of list together that gives me a few things to do. I also had a big clean. I sort of got rid of all the shit that was sort of taking up heaps of space without spending hours on it. But now what I can do is finally start pulling this rear end out. And the first order of business, like I said, we get this back down, clear everything out of the boot, get all the carpets and trims and computers and all that sort of thing out. Then get it back up in the air, get everything on the underside that's in the way out. And then once I've done that, I can probably start cutting. Alrighty, it's quite a bit later in the day and it's hot now too, which is awesome. And then the mosquito is going to be out soon, but I had some other stuff I had to do quickly. Lucky I had 4 days off, so I have plenty of time to still do stuff. This should only take a couple of hours, but finally get into it. I think this was the hardest step of it. Both the windows are wrapped up super secure now because, man, I don't want to break these. I feel like they'd be a pain in the ass to get new ones off. I mean, these are like brand new basically. So I'll chuck these in there. Quarter windows aren't as important. I'll wrap them in a rag or something. And then I can start pulling it all apart. I've just made a horrible discovery. I pulled the, this didn't have a boot lid on it for a while, right? And it had a tarp on it instead. So anyway, I was like, oh yeah, cool. That's not good. That's not good at all. So this is the, I'm surprised this shit's not damaged. This is the luggage net. That's pretty cool. So I'll keep that with all the black car stuff. This is mega shit. I've got a swimming pool in the back of this goddamn car. Fuck me. Fucking hell. Ooh. Look at this brand new spare. This is slimy. Like, that's how new it was. Obviously it was never driven on, but like, fuck me, there's so much water in the back of this car. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm 100%. I'm gonna empty out a bin, pull one of these grommets out, and hope I don't have to have a shower afterwards. Oh my god. It's like, oh, it's gonna be too fast. Look at this.
It's definitely.
Look at this. What the fuck?
Oh.
It's like a fucking, like full, like, what the fuck?
There's still heaps in there.
I wonder if this bin's sealed.
Oh god.
Look at that. That's so weird. It's like coming out perfectly. It's fucking silent and it's still draining. That's so weird. But yeah, look at that. Look how well sealed everything is. Oh, the bin. Oh, get fucked. Oh. Oh. It's like.
Oh my god.
Come on. Literally. That's fucked. I don't know how I'm gonna get this fucking bin outside. Hopefully you can sort of see what's going on here. There's not much to show. Pretty much everything on these is 10 mils. I realise I don't have a mic, so it's shit when I'm really far away from the camera. But I'll quickly zip all this stuff out. So there's all of the boot trims, carpets, they're really good. I will be putting those back in just because it'll be a real nice way to tidy up the boot, even though there'll be nothing left of it. It's not going to hurt. I'm not going to cut up any higher than obviously with the bumper mounts anyway. So now that it's all out, I can sort of show you where I'm at. You've probably all seen this before if you've seen anything else I've done. But this is where the bumper mounts, and I'll probably be going, it's probably a bit dark. I'll get a light. Alrighty, so that's a fair bit better. So obviously I'll get all this shit out, get the jack and stuff out, little sensors, not heaps of wiring, it's just the tail light wiring and that sort of thing mostly. Parking sensor wiring, get the fuck off, that doesn't need to be there. This shit will just basically rip out, so there's no issue there. Get it out of here as well. Take that. So I can pretty much snip this, but I'll get all this up out of the way for now. Won't start cutting anything. Like I said, I'm not going to do wiring yet. Factory amp, I'll hold on to this because people sometimes need these, and I can probably make, $100, $200 selling that. And then, like I said, just some rear computers and a couple more sensors and stuff. So I'll just get it all out of the way, and then I'll basically, what I'll do is I'll probably cut from here. I'll mark it all up, tape it all up, sort of thing. And then I'll just cut along the rails for now. So I'll cut this whole center section out. Probably maybe this section, probably not this section yet, because that'll probably be keeping the struts together a little bit, so I'll leave that. But I'll cut all the bottom out, I'll cut both the bottom of these pockets out, and then I'll get up in the air and get all the shit out from underneath first, rather. Alrighty, so for the rest of it, I think that's pretty straightforward to get off. So underneath there'll be a couple of clips and stuff. This has a lip kit, so it'll have probably a couple extra bolts and stuff around there. But as far as that, there's these knockouts here. This is just a trim removal tool, metal one, 10 times, 1,000 times better than any of those nylon bullshit things. So you'll actually be less likely to leave a mark in something with one of these than you would with one of those, nylon things that everybody has. But 2 8mm, I think there's, they're 10, sorry, 2 10mm, 10mm on the sides, and heaps of clips and like a couple of screws underneath sort of thing. And then this rear bumper will come off. All right, so those rear clips are a massive pain in the ass. The ones underneath, it's like a plus, but they're not good anyway. It's basically just clips on the sides now, a couple plugs, and this will just fly off. Him and him. Parking sensor came with it. There's plug one. This phone shit, fuck off. This whole Rio is going to go anyway. So the rear bar's off. I've pulled the wiring back through the grommets. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to have to relocate all this wiring anyway, like this fuse box, the boot wiring and stuff, just to get it out of the way for when I tub it. Same thing on this side. This is like the rear brake, rear light computer, I'm pretty sure. Other stuff I can get rid of, like all the factory sub and all that sort of garbage. But for the time being, I'll get all this wiring out of the way, up and nice and out of the way, and then I'll get this crash support off and then get it up in the air. Alrighty, so this might be a little bit hard to film, but now that it's up, you can see only thing I really need to get off is the exhaust. And then once that's off, I can, it's hard. The cutting the middle bit out will be the hardest, just because I remember doing it in the white car and even the other white car, and there's the sway bar and stuff just behind it, sort of thing. So I'll be a bit careful with that one. But as far as the back of the wheel arch and these side pockets go, I'll basically lop them off level with the rails, the top of the rails, and then I'll be back after I get the exhaust off. I've got all the tow hooks off, the exhaust hanger, the exhaust, the heat shields, and now you can see a bit more about what I'm talking about. So I'll cut out above. Oh, it's kind of hard. It'll be pretty much flat with the bottom of the rail, maybe. Anyway, I'll get it down, mark where I'm going to cut it, but you can see here it's really snug, sort of thing, and a bit of a pain to cut, but I'm going to grab the charger for the camera, let it charge for a bit, have a bit of a think about where I'm actually going to cut this, and then before I do anything crazy and spectacular, I'll come back and record some more. Alrighty, so the camera's charged again for like the third time today. What I'm going to do is this rail tapers up. I want everything to be about level with this. Obviously, once it's tubs will probably come to, about here or something, and they'll be pretty tall. Like, we're going to make it so, let me rephrase, hold on. We're going to make it so that it'll take a big tyre, like 29.5, small tyre, I don't know what that's technically classed as, but a big enough tyre, just because it'd make no sense to essentially make this now and not make it capable of fitting a big tyre. So in case I want to race it down the track or something like that, I'm already doing a 4-link, or I'll be doing a 4-link, and I'll be tubbing it and basically everything, so it'd be stupid to not have the ability to do more with it. Anyway, so when it is cut out, like I said, it'll pretty much all be getting cut out for the clip, but because I don't know physically the dimensions or what we're going to do there or anything like that, for now, what I'll do, I know this is definitely not gonna go wrong. Like, I can't really fuck anything up by doing this. I've got this bit of RHS, obviously pretty thick, pretty rigid. This is level enough, and what I'll do is I can actually, look at that, I can, as long as I'm pushing down, holding it flat, I can basically even scratch a mark in here as a bit of a cutting sort of template thing. So it won't be perfect. I'll get something going on here. And once I've done that all the way around, then I know basically where I can cut. It's super noisy, so I'll do this, and then I'll tape up an actual cutting mark. But like I said, I need to still keep the bumper mounts, and I still want to keep most of this rear section, because this is the way the bumper actually mounts on the car, and there'd be no reason for me to say cut it up to any higher than that. Basically, you can see where the top of the rail is, so it'll be pretty well a nice cut through there. Same cut I've done in the middle of the white car, basically, except I'm doing the whole thing this time, which is what I should have actually done in hindsight on the other Majesta, but oh well. Alrighty, so I got a tape mark all the way around, both sides. I'm going to cut to the top of that line, probably slightly shy of it. It's not going to hurt, but this is going to be good because it'll give me a nice, accurate, off the factory rails, because the rear end's good, pretty even cut all the way around. Down here, the line would have been up on this, so what I'm going to do instead is just cut pretty much just below the peak of that bend. And then as far as in here goes, I'll cut this backside with a grinder. I'll cut this backside with a grinder. I'll cut all the outside with a grinder. Same over here. The air hacksaw's a bit too shit to do that. And then for in here down the side of the rail, down here, and then the rest of this bit, you know what I mean? I'll just use a recip saw, because otherwise I'll be here for ages with the grinder. Probably not really, but I'll probably start some fires. I might do that anyway. So I'll start cutting. I don't know if you can hear that, but the sheep are going crazy. So we better give them a little treat. I think they're expecting a treat about this time, so... Hello, guys. Oh, what do we got here? What have we got here for you guys? Oh, they're going crazy. And then this little lady can't make it around the other side of the gate. Oh, yum. Ow. Ow, you fucking bit me. A little nasty. And now I can hear the goats all yelling in the distance as well, so they're alright though. I don't really picture them. Oh! Alrighty, so we're cut. All the stuff with the angle grinder that's cut needs to be cut. Basically, a couple spots I'll probably have to come back and get. There's a bit of a lip in that corner there. Can't get right in here, but pretty sure I didn't hit anything going through this bit because, like I said, sway bar and I think maybe even brake lines are behind there. But didn't smell anything too crazy. So what I'll do now is see how weak it is already, sort of thing. This is like the whole structure of the car. But I'll get the recip saw and then I'll mow through here, there, and the outside bit. Alright, so now that that's out, I've got somewhere I can actually stand. It'll be a lot easier to get the side bits out, so I think it was pretty shitty squatting in the boot. The only other thing is, you can see what I mean. So the whole rear, everything's super close here. The brake lines were right there. Like I said, because I cut a little bit low, I didn't nick anything. But here is directly where I need to cut there, basically. So I've got to be careful with this first cut as to not sort of tear through this brake line. It's not the end of the world, probably, if I do. I don't think it'll have rear brakes anyway. To be honest, I almost definitely won't have rear brakes actually, but yeah, basically, fucking keep cutting carefully, and then I can clean it up afterwards. So that's actually pretty good, pretty level. Looks funny as now, but you can see where those rails are and all that sort of thing. I'll get the other side out. I don't actually think I got as close to the brake lines as I was thinking I would, but it's real hard to tell what's going on from underneath. Also, last time I had anything to do with the right rear corner of a Majesta and a recip saw, I fucking ended up in hospital because I cut my finger really bad then and got infected, and then I was there for like 4 days. It was like months later, but yeah, so we're already off to a better start than fucking last time I was doing this shit. So there we have it. Everything's all cut out. This bit's fucking just sitting there. I got really close to the brake line here, actually. I don't know if you can see, but it was like I grazed the actual like insulation of it. So from here, what I'll do is I'll pretty much just clean up everything I've cut because it's fucking all razor sharp. And like I said, I was hospitalized last time I did this, so I don't want to do that again. And where I've cut, like here especially, I'll clean that all up so it's nice and square. Same in here. It was pretty hard because I remember the pinch weld comes out here, so it's double skin all the way back. So now that I've got more room, I can probably also clean it up so it's closer back to the rail. The bottom of the rail will probably just fucking peel off anyway because it's literally just spot welded and glued in. But I'll clean it up a little bit more and then I'll be back. Alrighty, so what I want to do is, you see where I've taped, it follows the line of the bumper, which does slope down slightly. I mean, I think I've noticed that before, but it's not in the forefront of my mind. So I don't think I'll really clean it up too much right now until I work out again what I'm going to do, sort of thing. When I do flat floor this whole thing, I will make it so that it's it's nice. It looks right, even with the bumper off and stuff. So it looks like I cared. But what I will do quickly is the other thing that is on my list on the wall is really quickly pull off all the plastic under trays and then get this rear bumper back on, and then probably go get some food because it's mosquito o'clock again. Alrighty, so here's all the damage underneath. There's not much left of it now. It's always weird looking up through the floor and stuff. I think it was weird the first time I did it, but what I'll do tomorrow, now that I've got all these under trays off, there's a couple more back here, but they'll be getting pretty much cut out anyway. So I've got, all of the ones off, sides, everything, whatever, so I can sort of, get some underbody deadener on this thing. Not right this second, but down the track, so I can make it sort of pleasant-ish underneath, and give it a nice sort of protective coating, which is something I've wanted to do to my other car as well, but I've just been lazy. But like I said, what I'll do now is just get the rear bumper back on, and get some food. But I'm gonna spin the camera around. I've managed to save 2 chrome trims, which I hate, and I'm probably I won't throw out because they're probably hard to get, so they're like perfect. I'll keep the rear obviously as well. And here's all of the shit that's getting thrown out. So on top of all the shit from the front end. So I'm adding more that I'm taking out realistically, but it's kind of cool to see just how much shit I've cut out of the car already, and there's like a lot more to get cut out. I think I said like probably 5 seconds ago in this video that I was gonna put all this stuff back in, but I am now realizing that because so much of this is going to be cut out and like remade, I don't think I will, because I could probably make it look a lot better without carpet. Rookie thought process. But I know someone has a bead roller now too, like a real bead roller. I actually all over my nose. So what I can do there is actually bead roll these panels like super nice when I do them. Look at this scary lighting because it's from underneath me. But alrighty, it's Monday. So what I'm going to do today, before I drop the fuel tank, because I don't really want to, pull the fuse box out. I'm going to get all the wiring back out, just fully out of the way on both sides, because it's pretty straightforward to do. This is just the boot mechanism plug for the soft close stuff. I'm pretty sure a couple other bits and pieces. The fuel door popper there is unplugged. But what I'll do as well is, because most of it's going to be unused from now on, just some masking tape. I'll mask up just behind all the plugs, and then bundle them all together and get them out of the way, so I know what's what, instead of having to try and put everything back in to get it out, just so I know what I can pull out of the loom, trim out of the loom, you know what I mean? And Dad was on the phone before to the bloke that's going to be CNCing out all the intake manifold parts and stuff, and he said he'd just knock up a real quick MDF template, I'm pretty sure. So I think they've just gone to go get that, so I can modify it, tweak it, do whatever I need to change it, because obviously Dad's car over there, let's see if I can zoom in on it, is basically the same setup. I'm just in the boot, so I can't really get it any closer, but that's the same setup as what my car is going to be. It'll basically just be a slightly different version of that intake manifold where the runners come forward and stuff, so we can at least get the angle of the holes right and everything, so when it's cut out of 8mm or 6mm plate, it'll all be done nice and perfect, instead of having to modify every single hole from the previous template. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Anyway, I am slowly getting through all this sort of stuff. This clip up here is sort of horrible, but it's funny how basic this kind of all is. The more I pull these apart and the more I muck around with it, I don't need half the stuff that's back here. And I can probably, it'd be really neat to unpick the loom. I'm probably gonna have to pull the whole interior out of this anyway, but like actually like clean it up. I've done a lot of it in the Majesta, but just little bits at a time. But honestly, after I know what I can get rid of, and I know roughly how this whole wiring setup works, I could clear out quite a lot of stuff from this. Not that it's going to matter a whole lot, but like just at least that way I've only got the wiring that I actually need in this fucking car, which is going to be brake light wiring, the boot wiring, maybe 10% of this rear fuse box. There's so much like, because it's a luxury car, there's so many extra things that I actually don't need, like airbag sensors, all that sort of bullshit. All the wiring is now out of the way. I'm not going to pull it back through the grommets because I know this all needs to stay back here anyway. So worst case scenario, like I'm leaving the fuse box attached, I'm leaving a couple of the little sensors attached and all that sort of thing. This one's for the smart lock stuff, so I don't think this will be going anywhere, to be honest. There's another little one that's for this is just specifically for like the proximity near the boot, I'm pretty sure. Obviously the airbag sensor, or the air suspension sensor ones can fuck off. The fuel popper thing down here that doesn't need to be there anymore. This, I'm not actually sure what this is, but it seems pretty fucking important, but it's only got one little plug going to it. Supply, assembly, rate control, power. So not too sure. I think I came across this in the other white one that I have, not my good one, the Ute thing, and I wasn't actually too sure what it was, but it didn't seem like anything really mattered whether this was plugged in or half of the stuff was plugged in, to be honest. So like, I did try start it, stop it with other shit plugged in and unplugged, and it, like I said, didn't really worry anything. So because all the interior trim bits were in the back seat, I fucking just quickly cleaned them up and put it back where they live for no apparent reason. Just so there's less shit all over the place. They can click back in for now, and that's totally fine. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it, but I had to pull the back seat out. And I totally forgot what I was even doing. I was about to put it up in the air, but back seat out, and then I'll get this shit underlay out, and then I'll pop the tops of these off, get the wires unplugged and stuff, get the fuel line unplugged, so that when I drop the tank, it doesn't rip everything out. Because I think last time, it still will rip a couple things out. It's like the, it's not a charcoal, it's like a fuel vapor thing. Charcoal canister probably as well, I think, but it's like a fuel vapor thingy too that ripped out last time. Again, doesn't really fucking matter too, but I'll quickly pop all this stuff out. And again, why this trim tool is the best thing ever. I think they're actually meant to be for like sheet metal, like panel removals for airplanes, but they ended up being used for this shit, and it works really well, like, because they're so rigid. Like, you could obviously mangle this with a screwdriver, but straight off with this thing. So get all these plugs out, and then kick it. Alrighty, so to get the fuel tank out, obviously there's two big straps. You can get to the bolts, so it's a bit of a pain in the ass. Handbrake cable has to get undone. Obviously these heat shields have to come off, and then hope that there's not heaps of fuel in it. I don't think there is. I think it was pretty much empty, sort of thing, but I thought that about my other car, and it was, there was probably still like 20 or 30 litres in it. So I'll quickly get done doing these. Alrighty, so everything's out except one bolt. We'll see if I'm going to get absolutely fucking crushed by this fuel tank or not in about 5 seconds. It went slightly better than I was expecting, but there's probably 20 litres of fuel in that thing. So I'll quickly grab some rags so there's not heaps of fuel everywhere. I'll have to fucking drain this now, which is a bit annoying. But it's not the end of the world. I'll drain it into something. It's useless fuel basically, but like I said, there's probably even 30, 40 litres in there. I won't put it in anything important. But yeah, at least that's out now. So I'll get this out of the way, clean up, put everything back up. So now I've stripped basically everything I can off the underside. Fuel tank's gone. The charcoal vapor, fuel vapor, whatever thingo is on top of the diff. So I'm not getting that out. I haven't even got it out on my other car. Like, it just won't fit out. So I can live up there till I drop the rear end. But yeah, so the other thing I can do is clean this up a little bit. So where this support is here, I might sort of cut through there, so I can sort of make it look a bit nicer again, nicer, and then around the back over. There's not going to be the end of the world, but it's missing the whole back of that. I don't think. Like, the control arm pretty well bolts to the body. Like, where it actually is fucking... Hold on, I'll spin this around. You see what I mean? Like, it's reinforced to the body, and it pretty well, the main bolt through is there, and then the control arm mounts here, sort of thing. So, all things considered, so far, it's getting there. Alrighty, so they're both drained now. I got Amelia to help me with the little funnel thing while I tip the tank up, but this one is half full. You can probably just see. Half full, he was full, so both 20 litres, a little bit over, so pretty much 30 litres. Pretty good guess. Once again, I thought it was dead empty. Obviously it was not. So lucky it didn't hit me, because it would have sucked to get smashed by like a 50, 60 kilo tank of anything. But sick. So now that that's done, I can get rid of him and put him outside, and don't have to worry about having a fucking explosive sitting out the back of the shed. So, all right. So Dad returned with this, which is kind of sick. It's basically just like a DIY intake manifold, but it's just laser cut out a 6mm MDF. So when it got this few little brackets and stuff and some pan-head screws. So basically what I get to do with this is, because my runners are going to angle forward like maybe 10-15 degrees from the manifold, to get everything a bit further forward, because it sits pretty far under the, plenum, I guess, where the wipers and shit go. So my task is basically assemble this wood intake manifold. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a couple of 45s, a couple of 90s sort of thing, as long as I get the majority of it right, and then essentially teardrop out these holes to suit the angled runners, and then we can give it back to him. He can make it all out of aluminium. So that's pretty sick. So I'll get to get started on this. So that's all screwed together now. This will be close enough to at least get the angles right and all that sort of thing. So what I'll do is I'll knock the tops of these screws off, and then the bodgy bit of plate that I made to sit the blower on, I can screw onto this to essentially flatten it out and get them level with each other and square sort of thing, so that I can have a pretty accurate idea of the angles I need on the bits of, like, on the runners to make this work. So I thought I'd give a bit of context to this laser cut thing, and essentially this is an intake manifold Dad designed for his Tirana, and I realized I didn't show it in the other video, so it's a bit grubby at the moment, dusty, whatever, but you can kind of just see in there, it's a bit hard to tell with the burst plate and everything, but this is essentially a copy of that intake manifold, because it works really well. So the only thing I'll probably do differently is make some slightly different gussets, and the runners on this one are pretty well straight up and down, and mine are obviously going to angle forward. So, but yeah, I thought I would just mention and show all that. So it's not like I've just pulled this design out of my ass and magically got it cut up, because I couldn't design stuff to be cut out on a CNC to save my life or anything like that, or a mill. So that is where this came from. It didn't just appear out of nowhere, but what I'll do now is, like I said, make a sort of top plate for this to sort of hold it all together and give it a bit of a backbone, and then I can sit it up there and get a bit of a better idea of how long the runners need to be, the angle they need to be on. I'll only need to make a couple, but then I can get the actual intake manifold like decked to the right angle and stuff. So I was just about to screw this plate to it, and then Dad came and said a couple things that I didn't know. So this will have to sit a little bit further forward, ideally, so that it's getting fed from essentially the middle of this is getting fed from the front two openings, I guess, if that's what you call them, sort of thing. So we did a couple measurements. It needs to come a little bit further back for a couple of reasons. So essentially, this is the size of the plate that it now needs to be, and I've got a couple of measurements to go off, and then I can screw this to that. This is the right width as well. So cool thing is, because it's a V, it's only going to be ever so slightly wider than the actual blower, and I can probably do something pretty cool with a router to make it really mate up to the underside, and that's probably about how much overhang it will actually have, and it'll sit, sort of about there. So there'll be a bit of overhang on the front of it, but it's not the end of the world. We've got a cool idea for something instead of a burst plate here. So this is where those little spaces sitting on there pretty well as far back as it sort of can go before changing the setback on it sort of thing. But you can see... Alrighty, so after looking at where that was initially, it needed more setback. That was not happening, and it needed to be a little bit higher. So now we've got the thickness of that. So and then I've marked roughly an angle I need to mow off on here. I've got about the angle that I want on the bottom of this little bit of PVC so that I can sort of split the difference between the two, and that'll get the runner about where it needs to. The 45's pretty close already sort of thing, so I just need to bring the front down pretty evenly. As long as I get this one right, the other front one right or whatever, the dude's got something to go off when he machines the rest of them. Alright, so that's heaps of messing around, but I've got this sitting pretty close, adjusted the height and stuff to mate up to the runner. Obviously ultra precise measurements. That front of that runner, that pipe's a tiny bit big, I think, diameter wise, but that that pipe is essentially at the front of that, so you can see how much it's nearly going to come back. There's an angle here, angle there, whatever. The other thing I was trying to work out was how I'm going to make 8 of these the same, and I've seen videos of people wrapping paper around, cardboard around the pipe, and basically getting the angles, because obviously it's 2 wildly different angles on wildly different things, whatever. So I come down to the actual pipe because I knew it was a bit smaller than what I'm working with, and you would not write about it. Look at that. Totally forgot to film because this is just heaps of grinding, checking. It's kind of stressing me out because I don't actually fully understand. It's like you make one small tweak and then the whole thing's off heaps. So what I did do though is I made a copy out of the actual tube, just some rough tube rather, and I got as far as I could before I had to touch this. And I think there's no way to cut it. Basically, there's no way I could have done it without mowing a bit of this off, sort of thing. But what I have done is teardrop that backside there. This is sitting where it was before. This is sitting pretty true square here. This obviously will be subject to change because these aren't probably perfectly flat at the moment, and they will change inevitably once they're done, sort of thing. So there's only so much you can do there, but at least I know roughly. This is the important bit: the angle that these are going to hit the intake manifold at, and roughly the angle they're going to come off the intake manifold at, and roughly the shape of the pipe to make it do both of those. The shape of the pipe is the least important part at the moment. It was just generally getting the right angle, sort of thing, because it is obviously pretty far from a circle. You know what I mean? The angle there, it's pretty steep, sort of thing. So it's not necessarily going to be round anymore. So it's essentially a funny looking egg shape. Left the front, so the front has some sort of reference, but I can change all the backs basically. But yeah, I'll keep working at it. There's only so much I can really film here. It's just heaps of fucking trial and error, and it's pretty confusing. So, all right, to be completely honest, I cannot wrap my head around this. I've sort of shaved it out a little bit more. It'll sit in there a bit. So I think it is all kind of just come up with it as you go. But I'm stuck. I take a bit, like I said before, I take a bit here and then you lose a bit there. And it'd be sick if there was like a really hard and fast way to do this. There's probably something super simple that I'm missing. But I don't know, when you've got one angle there and then you've got another angle on the bottom and then you've got another, angle up the top, I don't know. So I'm going to leave it for tonight. Probably not going to get it all done this week then as a result of that. But yeah, I'm stuck. I feel like Dad would have a solution for this immediately, but he's out at the moment. So frustrating as hell, but I'm not going to keep going tonight only because I don't quite, it's hard to explain, right? So like I know what I need to be doing, but I can't quite like process what I should be doing to do it because I've not done this before, like I said. So I feel like I'm on the right path and I've got something pretty close to what it might need to be. Dad has done this exact thing before with his with slightly less angles and stuff because he didn't have to be set as far forward. But like I said, I might wait for some input on him and see what he reckons before I get too ahead of myself and say mow the other side down and make another one and then have potentially done something wrong. You know what I mean? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to pretend I have 100% of an idea of what I'm doing, because I don't. So I'd rather do it right than do it wrong. And this is definitely something, like I said in the last few videos, it's all going to be a learning experience for me. I've not really done anything with motors. I turboed the other car and I've turboed a couple cars, but I don't think that really counts. This is totally different as far as I'm concerned. And I know there's whys and hows and reasons for this intake manifold design, and I'm still trying to learn. But like I said, I don't want to do something that's going to hinder the whole thing, I guess, when I could just wait another day, you know what I mean? And have some input from someone that actually knows what they're doing, you know what I mean? But I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. Otherwise, I will run out of time to edit this and whatever. But if you enjoyed watching, again, I know they're slow at the moment, but stick around. I'm sure it'll get exciting sooner. I'm pretty sure the billet end plates are going to rock up, like, I think they rocked up today, to be honest. But Dad's out, so when he gets home, they'll be here. But let me know what you thought, what I can change. Hopefully this video was better as well, because I did change a few settings on the camera. The last couple have been pretty horrible looking, in my opinion. This camera might also be at its limit for what it can do. But either way, I'm sure some videos are better than ultra high quality videos. So leave a like if you enjoyed something like that. I'll catch you next time, which will probably be quite a bit more exciting, hopefully. And then actually I've got something super exciting happening in a couple weeks time. So something I was going to do ages ago, but I never got around to doing. Oh, I just didn't have the money at the time, and it wasn't something I necessarily needed. It was before I even started on this car. This is like when Kanye said, I'm not going to say what race, but then I'm going to tell you the whole thing anyway, you know what I mean? But I'm not, so you have to stick around to find out what is actually happening, what I am actually going to get, something like that. But it'll be a big day if nothing else. So see ya next time. Bye.